to another Focus Video Production interview. My name is Ed Edelson. Today we have two members of the Heritage Singers. Twice a year, the Heritage Singers come together to provide excellent musical performances, once in the spring and once in the early winter. So with me right now are Helen Falcone and Greg Wismar. And thank you, Helen and Greg, for stopping by. Maybe you could maybe you can say a word or two about the upcoming holiday concert and how people can make sure that they're there.
Well, that would be wonderful, because without an audience, what good would our music be? We have two performances, Saturday afternoon, December 16th at 2 p.m. and Monday, December 18th, also at 2 p.m. We found that in the winter months we had more attendees during the day.
Okay.
So many people hesitate to come out in the cold and the dark. And so we are doing that at this wintertime
Excellent.
concert. And the donation is $15. Tickets can be bought at 465 Heritage Road, our center,
Yes.
or at the door if it's not sold out.
Very good. And I believe there's a theme for this year?
Well, yes, we always try to come up with a title, and this year it is Rejoice, Believe, Celebrate the Light.
All right. And
And
maybe some of the selections that are going under that?
Sure, Greg, why don't
Well,
you give us a
Just
cue?
happened to bring along the
We both did.
folder, we both did, just to be safe. And just looking at what's chosen, there's music for Christmas, there's music for Hanukkah, there's just general music for the holiday season. We start off with Do You Hear What I Hear, which has a great Connecticut pedigree to it.
Right.
And then we go into Light, which is one of the newer songs of Hanukkah. And as we follow through, the concert it's educational as well as hopefully inspirational, and each section is introduced with some little bit of a history for what you're going to be hearing, and people enjoy that. We've got a number of jazz numbers toward the end. Our esteemed director likes that. We're doing Christmas jazz, which is Kirby Shaw, which will be music to the ears of jazz people. People who go to movies will like Somewhere in My Memory, which was Home Alone. You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
All right.
Good.
You know, I happened to sit in a little bit of one rehearsal to do
Right.
one of the songs that I thought was so simple until I saw what you people did to it.
Must
And that
be
was
Winter
Frosty.
Wonderland.
Was it Winter Wonderland?
Well, why do I want to say
Or-
Frosty the Snowman?
Yeah, it was Winter. We're not
Winter
doing.
Wonderland.
It was Winter Wonderland, a
Yeah.
special
It's
with
a
jazz harmonies
great arrangement.
and an excellent arrangement. Not the traditional arrangement that people would be familiar with.
And if possible, I might try and interweave here a little piece of that to show the
Sure.
different parts
Okay.
and how the parts come together and how much work really goes into it. It's just not a matter of getting up there and saying,
No.
everybody know the words?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
let's go.
Exactly.
You're getting it, you're gonna get it. It's not like the concerts next week. We have a few more rehearsals for you bring it really. The day after the concert, if you don't get it, everything's like, I got it, I finally got it. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4. One. Up.
All right, well, again, two dates, 2 p.m., the 16th and the 18th of December, and get your tickets now. Don't be late.
That's right. And I'm happy to say that we have a wonderful professional percussionist by the name of Robert Nolte, who will be joining our
Okay.
pianist. And also Kathleen Rudolph, a villager, will do, shall we say, string bass on a keyboard. So we have percussion and bass, keyboard bass, and our wonderful accompanist, her name is Susan Anthony Klein. She's well known in the area. And interestingly enough, Susan was our accompanist in the late 90s. And she works with our director at the Waterbury Chorale, and he asked her if she were available for our dates, and it's wonderful that she's going to be back.
So, can you say a word to? I'm not sure I understood that. She's playing Kathleen Rudolph is playing the bass on the keyboard.
Correct.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I don't know why that sounds like an oxymoron to me.
Joe feels that if there is a percussionist with the quote-unquote band,
Okay.
that we need that level of sound, the bass, to complete it. There's the piano,
Okay.
the percussion, and then he wants the bass filled in. It's hard for a stand-up string bass player to play choral music because of the flipping of pages.
Okay.
So he came up with the idea, and it's not the first time we're doing it. We did it last spring, and Gene Hinkson played keyboard bass last spring.
Oh, okay.
And it works. It gives a bass sound.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're over to the side. It's all over to the side. The piano, the keyboard, and the drummer. And
I know you'll make it work.
it's a sound, and we hope it works. We think it will.
So for those new to the village, or maybe even those not so new, how long has the Heritage Singers been around? As far as you know. I mean,
As far as I
She
know,
knows.
yeah, their first concert was a Christmas concert in 1969.
pretty early on.
It's
Pretty
one of the
early.
first clubs. Those who like to sing got together under the direction of a gentleman by the name of Cliff Ormsby. And he had choral music in his background and formed a chorus. And they've been performing 2 concerts a year. We have been performing 2 concerts a year, with the exception of the pandemic.
Okay.
But even in the pandemic, we rehearsed outside and then made a video
I remember
because we
that.
wanted to keep singing. But it is, I don't know if I can say it is the oldest club in the village, but absolutely one of the oldest.
Excellent.
And
Now, again, having seen the rehearsal, I feel like I'm seeing more men in Heritage Singers than I had
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Is that
That's
true or just?
No, this year we've got 9 basses. That's
Mhm.
marvelous. 5 tenors. So you're going to be hearing for this concert a number done just by that part of the choir, which is going to be quite neat.
Okay.
And again, it's because Joe has built up that sense of camaraderie with the singers and encouraged them. He said, "Yeah, you can do this, so we're going to do it."
All right. Well, since you mentioned Joe is, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's sort of the glue of the singing. I don't mean of the
Absolutely.
club, because the club is something else, but for making this concert work, that's his job. But it seemed, am I correct, he used to just be an accompanist, and it's only recently he's become...
he has accompanied and played organ and piano all over the state in many venues.
Okay.
At one point, he took over the Waterbury Chorale, and he directs that.
Mhm.
And he was our accompanist for a good number of years. Again, we've had a lot of directors and a lot of accompanists, a lot of combinations, and there was a point in time where our director became very ill, and in order to keep things going, some of us approached Joe, knowing he was a very busy man, and asked him if he couldn't help us out by directing us. And he said, "Well, I love the group, so of course I will." And you'll notice that during our rehearsal, we do not have a rehearsal pianist, as was tradition
Okay.
going back. He prefers to place the piano in the middle, surround himself with the voices, and work the whole thing by himself. It's much quicker, is what he says. It's much quicker for him.
Well, I love watching
Oh,
when
yeah.
I can,
It's
the
there's
sausage
no wasting
being
of
made.
no waste of time.
And it can make for a crazy schedule. Now,
Yeah.
Tuesday nights, the
Yeah.
Heritage Singers rehearse, and from 5 to 7. But then Joe is the accompanist for the Connecticut Master Chorale. and I sing with them also. They rehearse from 7:30 to 9:30
On Tuesday.
on Tuesday
Tuesday,
nights.
so-
On Tuesday nights. So it's called the night of the short dinner. Joe comes with a power bar in hand and all, but and as a matter of fact, quite a few of the pieces that we're working with are ones that he's used with other groups to success and knows that this group can do them as well.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's just, as I've said in many of these interviews I've done with people who are involved with music, it's all magic to me how he does it. But his ear is just so attuned to what he's expecting. And when he doesn't
knows
get
exactly
that, he
what
knows
he's-
what he needs.
Yes, you're
And,
right about that.
Sometimes I'm listening going, I don't hear the difference, but he clearly hears a difference. That's a reflection on my ear, not
No, right.
Well, Helen, I want to confirm the rumor is not true that your first words were, "This is the greatest show in town." That's just a
Somewhat.
rumor. But I know you, I think mostly from Musicale and what you've done to make that really a great tradition, at least in my time here in the village. But I know your musical love for musicals way back. So
Oh, from an early age, I played piano, tap danced, sang. From the time I was this high, my mother was a composer and a beautiful pianist, and so there always was music in the house.
your mother was a composer?
She composed.
Not
For
every-
people who know Jean Hinkson, she was the Jean Hinkson of her high school and college,
Okay.
writing shows.
Very good. So not necessarily somebody we would see with a
No,
record, but
no.
still putting music together for
yeah.
others to perform.
Right.
Excellent.
And so there was always music in my life, but then, full-time teaching is just that. It's full-time teaching, and if you have a few hours on Saturday, you're lucky, because Sunday comes lesson plan time, and you're off and running again for the week. So,
But did you teach music or?
no, mathematics and French,
Okay,
both.
very good.
So, upon moving to the village, I still continued to teach at Pomperac High School,
I didn't know that.
and somebody convinced me to join the chorus, which led me to know a lovely lady by the name of Lorraine Wolnick, who sang a lot here in the village.
Okay,
And she took me aside and gave me voice lessons, and
she did good.
I think so. I've been in some community operas down in New Haven, and so I got very much back into music. She pushed me on the stage to sing in a musicale when I thought I couldn't, and so it goes.
Well, how long have you been hosting Musicale? Maybe not
Gosh,
as long as I thought.
it fell into non-existent at a point, and some of us wanted to bring it back. Jean, Floyd Higgins, and I met,
Mhm.
and we said we think together the three of us can do something to bring it back. But the first thing we did was decide it was not going to be at 10 o'clock in the morning, because so hard to get people up and out in the colder months for singers to sing at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
So we made it at 2. And we rotated hosting. Jean didn't want much of hosting, so Floyd and I rotated, then Floyd back. So now it's mine, but other people step in if I'm gone, and I could be gone a couple of times in the year.
We'll allow
Yeah.
you.
So,
But do you remember approximately what year was that you got together?
if I look back at my records, I probably could. I would say, let's see, before the pandemic, 1918, so let's say 2016 or 15 maybe.
That's about the time
But,
I moved in, so that's why I thought it was
Yeah.
always here.
No.
But
It was always here with different MCs,
Mhm.
different hosts.
Like any club, there'll be waves.
Sure,
of,
absolutely.
And as
Absolutely.
far as I'm concerned, right now it's on a high.
It is on a high.
High quality and
It is on a high.
new voices, so that's excellent.
Yes.
Greg,
Yeah.
how about you? Music been a part of your life for a while?
Oh, it sure has. And it still is. As I mentioned, the Tuesday night sequence, what makes that very interesting for me is that when Joe brings pieces back that we've done in Connecticut Master Chorale, they're new to me because I sing tenor with the Heritage Singers and I sing bass with the Master Chorale. So it's all good. But yeah, I've had music for years. I grew up in a musical home. I was minister of a church for, and still am, but 40 actual years. And in a number of those parishes was the choir director at the same time.
Okay.
So I've had that association, and then instrumentally, when I was in 6th grade in Meriden, Connecticut, they had a May Festival of Music. And somewhere around February or March, the director decided that he needed to have a couple of string bass players, because he didn't. So he came to our class at the Roger Sherman School and asked Mrs. Butler who would be good bass players. And she looked around, she said, well, the Cheerman boy is good, and so is the Wismar boy. So we got crash courses on how to play string bass, and I've been playing ever since. When I was in seminary in St. Louis, I played in jazz clubs. When I was in college, that was the folk era, so I played folk music. And it's just been a constant, and it's a lot of fun, and now I'm starting to teach some of the grandsons.
So I'm just going back like to college. Were any of you, neither of you were music majors, or?
No.
Never pursued it then as a profession
No.
or a passion at that point?
No, but again, she's got a great collection of hootenanny stuff, I'll tell you. So
Folk. I was in a folk group
yeah,
in college,
that
and
was
then
the era.
we had a little folk group here in the village. It was Floyd and Greg and I, and then that disbanded. And although once in a while Greg and I will still
get
do
together.
folk,
Yep.
we get together and play guitar,
Excellent.
and it's all good. It's all good. And now the jazz group, which I think was Jean's idea to invite you to that. She, came up with a name, and we perform at the Musicale 3 or 4 times a year.
Just to go back to the beginning, now, you're from New Jersey?
Nope, born and raised in Westchester County in New York.
Okay,
Family moved to Southern California when I was 12.
okay.
And then there was a point in time where Mom wanted to come back east. She was handicapped. She discovered the village. She said, would you like to come with me? I said, sure. Be closer to the family. And my father was gone at that point. And that was a long time. It was 1977, and I was well underage.
Right.
But I was a caregiver.
Oh, okay.
And so I've been here a long time.
Since
Most of my
1977?
Yeah.
Wow,
Went to work at Punk Rock High School, and
that's interesting. How about you,
Yeah.
Greg?
Yeah, I grew up in Meriden.
You did say. I'm sorry.
Good old Meriden. But then when I was going into high school, my family moved to Ohio. And so I went through high school there, but missed the East Coast, so came back and went to college in Westchester County, good old Westchester County. But then St. Louis for seminary, and then in the ministry, parishes all in New England, Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut. And 3 of our 4 kids are still here in Connecticut, 1 in Virginia. 15 grandkids are kind of going everywhere now. They're getting old, 8 of them are out of high school and into colleges and the military and careers and all that. So, but music is a constant. I've always had a piano in the living room, and like I say, I've enjoyed. Let's see now, 8 of the grandkids I've taught piano, and that's a lot of fun. Even to the point where one got good enough to start to do weddings and funerals. So I thought, we've made progress.
Right, the tradition lives on.
Yeah, the tradition lives on. So and music is just such a good thing. And again, at the holiday time, for people to carve out an hour or so to listen to the singers, it's well worthwhile.
absolutely.
I don't think you can do much better for a $15 donation to get a great hour of excellent music, and just something that'll warm your soul in these winter times.
We hope so.
Or any time.
We think so.
And as Helen said, tickets are available now at the, I call it the Paddock Building, but you have the address?
I just call it 465.
465, right? I'll have to work on that number. And you'll see a great group of people. It seems to me from the rehearsal, more people than before, and as Greg mentioned, more men. You gotta stand up for these men singers. Give them our support. And I hope to see all of you there. Anything else you want to say before we close out?
You've done well.
Very well. Thanks for having us, and we really hope that people come and hear what we are doing this season.
You know, it's a funny thing about musicians, you know, sometimes I say, well, why do they need an audience, right? I mean, they enjoy singing,
absolutely.
but
Oh my
it does
gosh.
add, and
Oh.
there's so much work. When I watch a rehearsal, I realize how hard that is. And again, it was where are we now? I lose track of time, but like the 20th was
Yeah.
your first rehearsal?
The end of September was our
Right.
first September.
Oh, yeah.
First rehearsal, the end of September.
So you'll have worked
Once
on
a
this
week.
for over 3 months
Couple months.
Yeah.
to get it
Yeah.
working perfect just for you. So don't disappoint them. Be there because they've worked hard for this, and the least you could do is show up, right?
Right.
We hope so.
Okay, well, thank you again for coming, and thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for future interviews on Focus Video.
Altos. Bass tenor